This is Intoxicated Literature.
Hello! Welcome to Intoxicated Literature. I am Daniella Drake.
And I'm Evelyne Crow.
And we are going to be discussing Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir.
I am so excited to be talking about this book because it's one of my top reads, ever in my life.
Ever. For sure.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I know it's popular, but, it deserves it.
For sure. This is one that, the hype is correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, though, when I finished this book, I was pissed because it was sold to me as lesbians doing necromancy.
Oh, see, I heard everyone that recommended it to me was lesbians in space.
It's not.
No, that is not what I got.
Don't tell people it's lesbian in space. Don't tell people it's lesbians doing necromancy. That is not what it is.
Exactly.
It is sapphic, but that's not it.
No. It's so much more.
It's so much more than that.
Yes.
Just stop it.
So before we get into it, spoilers.
Yes.
We will spoil this book.
Although we'll try.
To be honest,
complicated.
I was just gonna say it's very dense and very complicated. So
and we're very drunk, and so we're really sorry if we don't do justice to this book because it's so good and complicated, and we're just so drunk.
It is intoxicated literature, which is why you're hopefully listening. So yes, there's not spicy times. So don't worry about that, but there probably will be swearing because we are intoxicated, and this was a fucking good book. So
it was so good.
Yeah. What are we drinking tonight?
The skeleton key?
We sure are. Can I just say, it is spicy.
Spicy.
It's bourbon, elderflower, lemon juice, and ginger beer.
With 8 shakes of bitters.
And I have to tell you, it's got a bite. Every time I take a sip, I'm like,
the thing is this book has a bite.
So it does. It's appropriate.
It's very fitting.
It's appropriate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, cheers.
Okay. No, I picked up this book thinking it's your standard fantasy. It's gonna be easy to read, fast, not complicated, straight A to B fantasy. It is so not that in
I
any
had the
way.
exact same impression and was just completely shell-shocked.
I even warned you.
Yeah.
I even told you it is
did.
not that.
Yeah, you did. But because I had heard from so many different people, lesbians in space, literally so many people told me, you're gonna love this book with lesbians in space. It is not, it doesn't even cover a third of what this book is.
I mean, I don't even know what else you could do for it, honestly, because it's so different.
Exactly. If someone asked me to just explain it in one sentence, I don't think I could.
No, that's the thing. And social media being what it is, I don't know what else you could do.
Exactly. So I kind of understand the lesbian necromancers in space. That is...
I mean, really, if you go down to its guts, that is what it is, I guess.
You distill it down, that is it. But it is...
Damn, that's so not what it is.
I mean, it is a haunted mansion. It is a murder mystery. It is... I don't even... it's
Possession?
It's sci-fi fantasy. It's
a space opera.
It is.
It's a space opera
with necromancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I have to tell you that Gideon as a main character was phenomenal.
I love Gideon because she's a fuck up.
She is, but she's also a smartass.
She's a fuck up smartass who doesn't give a fuck, and she still, falls into success somehow.
Yep.
And I love her for it.
Same.
And it's amazing.
Yes.
She just falls, and she just literally trips over herself into succeeding.
That is exactly what happens. Constantly.
Every
time she does anything. And you're like, well, that really could have blown up in your face, and yet somehow you pulled it off. So, okay.
She was literally trying to flee and run away. And then she becomes the knight, the number one person to escort, like, the leader of her clan to go somewhere and, like, leave the area. Like her plan succeeded in a different way.
Just not quite as she intended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yep. And Harrow, too, like, in the beginning, because you're kind of getting Harrow, or you're seeing Harrow through Gideon's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you don't like Harrow.
Well, you see her as this goody-goody, who's always doing, like, everything because that's how it's supposed to be done. Just following tradition.
But also using Gideon as kind of like a whipping boy. Like, like taking out her frustration and her hurt and whatever other feelings she has on Gideon because she's convenient. Right?
Right.
And so Gideon is like, hate her.
Yeah.
And so we kind of go, yeah, I hate her too. And then you start to realize that she's a little bit more complex than maybe you gave her credit for, and very smart, very capable, very good at necromancy. Like, so very powerful. So by like halfway through the book, you're like, wait a second.
Flawed narrator? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You cannot trust anything you see in this book.
No.
Ever. I had a friend, actually, who loves this book, and the way she described the series of books was bonkers, and I have to agree.
That's basically how I tried to explain to my boyfriend. I was like, it's bananas.
It's bonkers.
Like, it's bonkers. Yeah.
It's fucking bonkers. And the thing is, though, it's amazingly bonkers. I love how bonkers it is, because I cannot predict anything that happens in this, and it's amazing, because I just want to find out what fucking happens.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I could not even pretend to predict, because I was so just like, I don't even know what is happening, so I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. Not a fucking clue. No, I went in thinking I've read every fantasy novel that, like, well-known fantasy novel. I've read them all. I have read Wheel of Time. I've read Erickson. I've read all of the classics. I've done it. I've read Romantasy. I have read so many books. I know the plots. I know the beats. I know them. And I went into this book thinking I will probably predict the ending. I could not fucking predict shit.
I had no idea what was going on for 90% of this book.
None. The beginning, I'm going, what the fuck is happening?
That's one of my favorite things, though. I feel like, because I read some reviews, because I wanted to, like, kind of refresh myself for this book. And so many of the reviews were, I had no idea what was going on, but I love this book.
Yeah.
Like, and that's basically how I felt. Like, I did like, by the end, I got it, right?
Right.
But most of it, I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. Like, where are we? Who are these people? What is the point? Like,
that's the thing, is the plot is there, but it's all loose ends that are just kind of waving around in the air, and you have no idea how it's connected for most of the book.
Exactly.
And as the book is progressing, gradually you can see how they are all tied together, but very slowly. It's not something, but you can, and then all of a sudden by the end you can see the beginnings of this Gideon knot that is forming, and you're like, wait. But I'm sure by the time I read the second book, that Gideon knot's gonna be fucking blown apart, and I'm gonna have no fucking idea.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's gonna happen, and I have not read the rest of the series. It is on my TBR, but because this book was so dense, I could not immediately jump into the next one. I had to take a little bit of a break. Not to say that that's bad at all or I didn't like it. It's just you have to be in the right headspace to make heads or tails of it. And I just haven't been, just because the state of the world right now is crazy. And I have been reading lighter stuff to compensate, but I fully intend to read the rest of this series because
I have the
is
second
so
book
good.
on my Kindle. Right, it's there right now.
It's so good, and the characters are complex. They're all interesting. They're all unique. I don't think I have ever read such a unique book series, like, ever. I mean,
because I have read all of the classics, because I have done all of that. I don't mean to brag. I sound like I'm bragging, but because I have done all of that, I look for things that are unique. And that's what makes a 5-star read for me, as I look for things that are just so fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
This is bonkers.
Yeah, it is.
It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
And then it does.
The way that she utilizes the planets, never seen that before. The way that she utilizes even necromancy, like each planet has a specific skill set when it comes to necromancy that is so unique. Like the magic system, the world building was so good in this. And I think partly why I appreciate it so much is because there wasn't a lot of hand holding. Like she kind of just dumps you in and expects you to keep up.
Dude, you are dumped in the fucking deep end and said swim.
Yep. And I really liked that because a lot of the time I feel like they're holding your hand too much and it's like, give me some credit, like I'm smart enough to keep up, right? Whereas in this one I was like, I'm treading water, but I'm not really making any headway.
I'm barely keeping my nose above the I'm barely breathing here. I'm barely. I would like a life raft, please.
Yeah.
But she keeps you just above the waterline, and then by the end you're just, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, that last scene where Gideon literally throws herself off onto the fence and is like, I'm making the decision for you, was so crazy, and it landed so well. I mean, I was crying.
Oh god, I sobbed for the last quarter of this book.
I was crying, and it was making it hard for me to read it because I couldn't see. But it was so good because the setup and the payoff was so good. Like, you basically spend the entire first, 60% of this book trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And then at 60%, you start to go, oh my god. And then this happens, and you're just like, holy shit! The main character is dead! Like, what?
No, that's the thing, is you're thinking, no one ever kills the main character. Gideon's gonna be the main character for the entire series. Nope. Just kidding.
I mean, this basically, it made me think of Game of Thrones in a way, because Ned Stark is killed in that first book. And it's so shocking. That was one of the first books where I literally threw it, because I could not believe.
I was so pissed, and part of the reason why I haven't read the second book is because I was so attached to Gideon.
Yeah, same.
She's so great, and I was just like, well, fuck.
Well, and there were so many great moments, because there's so much animosity between Gideon and Harrow, but then they have these, small, quiet moments where they find common ground.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to kind of go, wait a minute, they're not as far apart as it seems. And then by the end, you're really shipping both of, you're they're gonna make it, they're this is great, they're falling in love, this is so good, and then the rug is just completely pulled out from underneath you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the thought that had to have gone through to make this plot work.
Well, I have to read the rest.
Yeah.
If only to solve the puzzle that is Gideon. Because I feel like she has to come back somehow.
Well, she's a part of Harrow.
She is a part of Harrow, because they make so there's the way the whole, empire is run. There is the Empire, the Emperor, and then he has these acolytes that are, they call them saints. Basically, lictors.
Yeah, something like
that. And they are necromancers who have absorbed the soul of someone else.
Yeah,
essentially, and all of their knowledge of fighting, and they become immortal. And that just sounds like not a good thing. And a lot of them have gone mad as a result of long life and all of, it's not great.
Mortals are not meant for immortality.
No,
let's just be real.
So the Emperor is looking for new ones. He needs new ones. And so that is what has been set up in Gideon the Ninth, is they're looking for new lectors to replace the ones that have gone mad or died, or fallen to the wayside. They call them saints because they're so long-lived and have been around forever.
And they're, like, protectors, like, supposed to be, right?
And so, once they've unlocked the secret of it, one of them immediately kills her knight. Like, immediately, no regrets, none whatsoever.
No hesitation.
And you're just like, Jesus Christ, I don't think you're gonna make a great lector. That's insane. You have no empathy whatsoever.
Yeah.
And obviously no bond to your knight. And Harrow was like, well, I can't do that. I love Gideon. I can't do that. And Gideon sacrifices herself.
Because she has to. Like, they're fighting this immortal being that's been around for so long.
With cancer, by the way. How fucked up was that?
Yeah. That, ugh. My God, can you imagine?
I couldn't even wrap my head around the fact that this person was dying for centuries.
Like, no wonder she's like, we need to end this. I've had enough.
I don't blame her.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, that's fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucked up. She was in misery for centuries. It's fucked up. I don't blame her. Ugh.
But there was no way that Harrow could fight her without Gideon.
But here's the thing about Gideon. I don't know what's up with Gideon. Gideon's weird. Gideon is weird. She's always been weird. She fell onto the ninth planet with her mom out of nowhere. As an infant, she was a baby, right? From the sky. By rights, then she should have died. And then she didn't. And then when Harrow's parents gassed everybody to create like a super necromancer.
Well, because she couldn't carry a baby to term. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They committed genocide, basically, to make sure that she could carry a baby. Yep.
Awful!
Yep.
Not great. And she carries that guilt on her soul. She's not happy about it. She also didn't die. She's the only survivor.
Not the only one. The knight, or not knight, what they call them? Cavalier. Cavalier is the term they use, which is technically knight, but he was the other one that survived.
Okay, so there were 2 survivors out of all of them.
And it was only those 2.
Only those 2. Which is weird. And then when they were fighting that one mechanism in that whole haunted mansion thing, I think she died like twice. And came back.
I think she was on the brink of death, but I'm not sure that she actually died.
I don't know, man. I don't know if she can die.
I mean, when she first comes to the 9th planet, which is Pluto, which isn't a planet anymore, which I find hilarious. But
technically, this is a made-up world, and it's not our universe. This is not our universe, technically.
Technically, yes. But also, yeah. But she is attached to some kind of health apparatus. And yes, her mom has died. Her mom is brain dead. But her body is still alive because of this health apparatus, so she's still alive, right? And then she falls, but there's no record of her. They don't know where she came from. They don't know who she is, why she's there, any of that. So, I mean, there is kind of a question of how is she alive?
That's the thing. We don't know a lot about her, or where she came from, or what she is.
But could Harrow become a lictor if Gideon didn't die and she didn't absorb her soul?
Well, that's the thing, is like, what's going on now that she's absorbed Gideon's soul?
Yeah.
That's a question.
That's a good question. Because I haven't read the rest of the series, so I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
And I have a friend who has read it, and she's just like, ha 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 ha! You think you know, you don't know! Ha ha! It's bonkers! I'm like, great. That's awesome.
Yeah, if you thought this book was bonkers, I think the next book's even more bonkers.
Well, it's on my Kindle, and now I have to read it, because she has stoked my curiosity. So
that's fair.
She has a kick-ass tattoo, too. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Oh!
Yeah.
Beautiful skull. It's amazing. Oh my god.
So good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so every planet has its own, so it's like the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and all the way up to the 9th planet. And each planet has its own I don't know, flavor of necromancy.
Skill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Specialty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what the ninth is.
It's so complicated.
It is so complicated.
But also the ninth is dying.
It's dying.
Because they don't have any children. Like, they literally, so they are the guards of the locked tomb.
Yes. They are protecting the locked tomb, which is like the heretic.
Yes. And it's important to keep this person in there and locked away.
We never learn anything about them because no one is allowed to know anything about them. This is like a heretic. They're just bad.
Yeah. Except that Harrow opened the door and fell in love with her.
I know.
Wasn't supposed to. But yeah, so the ninth planet is dying. Like, they can't have children. Her parents tried to have children multiple times, could not do it. Finally killed all of the children on the planet in order to make sure that she conceived. And Harrow was born. And I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine living with that as Harrow. Like,
no, Harrow just feels immense guilt for that whole thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't her choice. She didn't choose that. Like, that was something that was it was beyond what she wanted, but the choice was out of her hands. So, but then Gideon comes along, and Gideon's like, I don't want to be here either. I want to get out of here. And she tries to escape like 28 times or something crazy.
And so many times. She's always caught.
But always. I love Gideon so much because Gideon is such a smartass.
Yes.
And lucky, like ridiculously lucky, but also incredibly skilled with a sword.
She really is, and it's funny because she's picked as the Chevalier for
Cavalier.
Harrow. Whatever. Of Harrow. I'm going to say Chevalier.
Okay.
Of Harrow to go on this, I'm going to become the new lector for the Emperor. And she's pissed about it. She's like, I don't want to go on this thing. I'm actually not that good. And everyone on the ninth planet is like, you're really not that good. You're kind of shit, actually. But the fact is she may not be good as a technical sword fighter, but she's really good at adapting.
And reading her opponent.
Whereas someone who is trained is not. They're more rigid.
Yeah, it's actually funny because one of the first duels she fights on the first planet, like, she technically wins only because her duelist had all the proper forms, all the proper footwork, like, as a duelist was beyond reproach, but because she was able to adapt and change her techniques and stuff, she technically was better.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wasn't relying just on form.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where her strength lies, is being able to just be like, oh, this person is way stronger than me, so I need to do this. Or, oh, this person is way faster than me, so I need to do this. And it's not just one size fits all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like Clue, but with necromancy.
It is. It really is. And also science and religion and dueling. Like, there's so many aspects to this book.
Because it's not Hunger Games, because there's like a murder mystery happening, but they also have to solve clues. It's so weird.
It's so weird.
There's so much going on. It's so good.
It's so good, and it's so hard to explain.
And then they have these monk guys who are their servants who are around, and it's so funny because when I first met the first one, I'm like, this guy's weird.
Teacher?
Yes. I remember going, this guy is weird. I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, this guy's totally cool. He's really awesome. I'm like, no, he's not. He's totally weird. And then he's dead this entire time.
Yeah. Like, he's been dead for centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
Weird. So weird.
Fucking weird,
yeah.
Man.
I know.
Yeah. I felt so vindicated, though, because I felt totally creeped out by that guy the entire time.
I totally agree. The first time you meet him, you're like, you're odd. Something's off with you. Like, what is going on? But also, the first night, the shuttles literally, they get pushed off the platform and are gone. Like, they are literally trapped there.
This is gonna sound really weird. Very weird. There is a movie. God, what is the guy's name who was in Blazing Saddles and in another movie by
Gene Wilder?
Mel Brooks? Yes. And it's a haunted mansion movie that has him in it. It's gonna sound weird, I know. But it's kind of like that movie.
Okay, wait. I have to look this up now because what the fuck
This
are you
is like
talking
a
about?
cult, like, I saw it once as a kid. It sounds so bizarre, but it really reminds me of that because shit is going fucking weird. It's not the Frankenstein movie.
Haunted Honeymoon?
Maybe? I saw it I was in 5th grade. I was young.
That came out in 1986.
Yep. Sounds
so
about right.
That's probably it, which was definitely after The Young Frankenstein, which is what I thought you were talking about, but...
Yep.
Haunted Honeymoon. I kind of vaguely remember that. That's what you thought of when you read this book?
It's just a bunch of weird random shit happens.
Yeah.
Like you're in a place and you have no concept for what will actually happen around you. It's bonkers.
It is bonkers. I mean, that is the best description of this book.
It's
for
bonkers.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you have what you think is supposed to happen because there's a competition and you're going to do these tasks and you're going to go forth and new lectors will emerge at the end. And you go into the book thinking, that is what will happen. And it's so not what fucking happened.
No.
Because it's bonkers.
Well, and poor Harrow, like, she doesn't want to ascend. She doesn't want to become a saint. She doesn't want to become a lictor because that means that now Gideon is no longer there. And she's like, morally, that's wrong. I don't want that. And, like, the other Ianthe or whatever her name was, like, no hesitation, right? So then the question becomes, like, does that make Harrow a better candidate? Does that make her a better lictor? Because morally, she's like, I didn't want this. I didn't ask for it, but here I am.
Right.
Like, so there's a lot of, like, moral questions, too, that come up because, and that's partly why they're all here. Like, they have to go through these trials, essentially, to figure out even how to ascend.
Mm-hmm.
And then have to choose to take the final step. And the Emperor's like, yeah, it kind of fucking sucks. Like, it's not great. And when I discovered what it was, I wasn't happy about it either. But now you're here. So, yay, us.
And Harrow's is just like, well, fuck you.
I know.
Maybe just don't do this anymore.
Yeah, she was so not happy.
Because not only is Harrow, like, against the whole concept, now she has Gideon's soul, like, inside of her.
Yeah.
She has Gideon's fighting skills and, like, her knowledge of that, like, inside of her.
Yeah.
So she doesn't just get to say, she doesn't have to say goodbye to Gideon and, like, mourn her, because she has Gideon inside of her. She carries her everywhere.
Yeah.
So she has that added guilt to everything else that she has.
Right.
In her life. Now she has that too.
Yep.
It's, like, Jesus Christ.
It's kind of fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's
also,
really fucked up.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Like, it's handled so well.
It really is. Like, you can hear Gideon's voice talking to Harrow as the transfer's happening, and I was sobbing.
I was too.
Sobbing. Like, openly sobbing while I was reading the end of this book. And I am not one to, like, cry that hard at books, but you become so attached to these characters during the course of reading this book. Like, all of them.
And this is, like, the end of the book. Like, this is, like, you're so close to the end.
Yes.
And so you think they're gonna make it. They're gonna be the two that make it. And that is not at all what happens.
Well, and you're also discovering that there was a traitor.
Yeah.
In their midst who was killing competitors.
But not for the reasons you think.
Not for the reasons you think. Not because they wanted to be a lector. Not because they were trying to get ahead. Literally because they do not want lectors anymore.
At all. Yeah. They want to entice the Emperor to come there so they can kill them and end lictors forever.
And they're just evil. period. And you're just like, oh my god.
But, like, it's hard, too, to say that they're evil because...
I guess that's true.
Like, you have to think about living a life like that for centuries.
That's the thing. Because you watch them through the book. They were sick the entire book. And you watch them and you come to have a bond with them too. They were sick the entire book. And so you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
It is bonkers. It's so bonkers. And it's so hard. Like, I've tried to get a few people to read this, and it's just, I end up saying lesbian necromancers in space because it's just so hard to distill it down into just one sentence, because so much happens that is so beyond anything you've ever read before. And so trying to convey that to someone without spoiling anything is impossible. It's just impossible.
I mean, trying to sell this book to someone is really complicated because it's just such a complicated book. And I remember trying to sell it to you because I knew you would like it. And I'm like, no. And as soon as I said the word necromancy, you immediately were just like, no, I don't want it. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, generally, that is not something I enjoy. I don't really like reading about dead bodies. It's weird. But that's one of the things that I really enjoy about how Tamsyn Muir handled it is she really did a service to it. Like, she breaks down necromancy into bite-sized pieces. So each planet has like a specific way that they use necromancy, and they're particularly skilled at it. And so it's not, you're absolutely right, it's not necromancy the way that we usually see it. And that's one of the reasons that I enjoyed it so much, is because, yes, there is a lot of there is actually a lot of necromancy in this book. But because it's handled so differently, I really liked it. Like, there's a lot of bones being reanimated, or like they try to raise ghosts at one point. Like, it's just like so many different aspects of necromancy that you don't necessarily see all the time. And I thought that was really smart on her part.
No, that's true. Because, like, when you think necromancy, you think of like the Dungeons and Dragons movie when they're like animating full corpses and asking them 5 questions, and that's all they get.
Which I did enjoy that scene. That was a great movie. Everyone should see it.
That was hilarious. Absolutely. But that's what you think of when you think necromancy. That's it. But no, she really breaks it down into all these different pieces. There's 9 different specialties that these different people have. And you're just like, whoa.
And she was smart, too, because I feel like at the end, when you finally meet the Emperor, who is this, like, big mythical figure throughout this entire book, and you finally meet him, and you start to get a hint that there's a lot more going on in the universe than maybe the characters are aware of. And even Harrow starts to go, oh shit, like, this is not what I thought at all. And so, like, it does make you want to read the next book, because you're like, wait, so we went through all of this and that's not even what we thought. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it's I'm gonna have to read the fucking second book. I know I'm gonna cry again. I don't.
Of course. Because it's bonkers.
Ugh. It's gonna be bonkers, it's gonna be feels, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be wonderful, and I'm gonna have to read it.
Yeah, probably. I'm definitely gonna read it. I don't know when, but I'm definitely gonna read it.
Well, I checked it out from the library, so it's on my Kindle right now, so I will have to
Oh, you have to do it.
Yep.
Now. Like, it's not, there's no choice.
There's no option.
It's required.
Mm-hmm. Ugh.
Yeah.
Why'd she have to write such good books?
I know.
Ah.
Like, I don't even know what else to talk about, to be honest, because this book is so crazy.
Well, I do like that it is sapphic in nature. And then Gideon had to go die.
Yeah.
She was the best of them, and she died.
I know. I liked it because she was constantly surprising everyone. Like, everyone would come in with these preconceived ideas of what she was, who she was, what she could do, and she was just constantly subverting their expectations.
Absolutely.
And I loved that. That was an aspect that I really, really, because, listen, I'm 5 feet tall. I smile a lot. I'm a woman. People tend to underestimate me constantly. They think I'm going to be a pushover just because I'm bubbly. And it doesn't take long for me to completely switch that off and switch over to the fuck you say?
Yeah.
So it was really awesome to see a character who was constantly being underestimated and then just showing them up immediately and being so capable and so smart. Even when she wasn't that smart.
Yeah.
Like being able to figure things out, and it was just...
Well, she was a really great foil for Harrow, too.
Absolutely.
Harrow was so concerned with being number one and being the best. And because...
Perfect. She wanted perfection.
She did. I don't really blame her because her family committed genocide for her to be the best. I mean, that was a lot of pressure put on her as a child.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. Jesus Christ, that's such a lot of weight to put on a child.
For sure.
So she had that guilt, she had that pressure, she had all of that placed on her shoulders. And she strived every day of her life to fulfill that promise that her parents, wanted. And so she, every day was, I have to be better, I have to be better, I have to be better, I have to be the best. And then there came Gideon, who was just the ultimate fuck up. She just was.
I know. It's so true.
And Harrow hated it. She hated it, but at the same time, she wanted to be it.
She needed it.
She wanted to be able to just allow herself to be that
make mistakes,
relaxed about things.
Yeah.
So she needed to have that, just that freedom to be the fuck up every once in a while.
To fail. Yeah.
So she was the ultimate foil for Harrow, and I think they were just really good together, and it worked really well.
I absolutely agree. It was so funny because you start out, I mean, we already said, like, you hate Harrow so much because Gideon has such strong feelings about her. But, like, watching her and learning about her and, like, seeing how good she is and how much she values and, like, really, like, sticks to her morals. Like, she has very clearly defined morals, and she will not cross them.
No, she won't.
Like, it takes Gideon making the move before she's like, well, I can't just let you die in vain. Like, okay, fine, you forced my hand. But, like, up until that point, she has constantly gone up to the edge and been like, I'm not, no further than that. Like, I will drain myself until I die, but I'm not going to cross this. And it's because of her parents, I think, that she has that just, like, this is it. Like, this is the line that I come to, and that's it. I'm not going to cross it.
Well, and then, I mean, she doesn't just carry what her parents did to conceive her. Gideon isn't aware until later what her actions also cost Harrow.
Right. Yeah.
And that is something that, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is a heavy book.
It is heavy.
Because when Harrow snuck into that locked tomb, because that is the whole purpose of the Ninth House.
That entire planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep that tomb locked. Never open it.
Yep.
Don't go in it. That is their purpose. That is it. And Harrow snuck in it. She broke it. She broke the whole path. The whole planet. That was it. She broke in. And Gideon knew about it. Saw her do it. Then Gideon, as a child, unwittingly, unknowingly, not knowing the seriousness of such an action, told Harrow's parents.
Well, told one of the nuns.
Right.
But yes, they told Harrow's parents.
And the result of which was Harrow's family committed suicide.
Yeah. And then Harrow pretended like they didn't. Like, she reanimated them.
Yeah.
and made it seem like they had just changed their diet and their beliefs a little bit and did that for literally years. Like, people still don't know that her parents are dead.
Yeah.
Like, that is a lot for anyone to carry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have Gideon, who had no idea that Harrow had... I mean, that was the reason why Harrow was so angry at Gideon.
Yeah.
And Gideon had no idea.
No clue.
No fucking idea.
No.
Gideon was just like, why you hate me?
Yeah. Why are you being so mean to me? Yeah.
I'm just a child and now you hate me. I don't understand. And then you have Harrow, who's literally ruling the whole planet with her reanimated family. This book!
I know. That was such a great scene, though, when Harrow finally tells Gideon, like, they're in the pool, like, they're... Like, this is the first time that you really see both of them just being normal with each other.
Yes.
And it because it was the first time, like, this was, like, more than halfway
oh god, it was almost the end.
Yeah.
It was, like, right before the end.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really become close to each other or trust each other until, like, 70% in. It's, like, way close to the end.
Yeah, but the beauty of it is, like, they have this heart-to-heart where they really start to see each other just as they are. And not without, like, completely without their preconceived notions. Without all these emotions and stuff. And immediately after that, they have to battle, I can't remember, it was like some crazy construct or something. And, like, they're in sync for the first time. Like, they're just on the same page. They're working together. They're not fighting each other at all. And they're kicking ass. And because she did so much work to set that up, the payoff was so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good writing. I mean, that's just good writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, she stabs you in the heart and then is just like, and then you're cheering. You're cheering.
It's so good.
So
God, this series is good.
No, I know. You're like, oh, they're getting closer. They love each other. Yay! And then you're just like, oh no.
And then they just rip out your heart and stomp on it.
And the tears come again, and you're like, why? But
also, it's bittersweet in a way because, like, Gideon's making the choice that she wants to. Like, it's not something that's forced on her. Like, she doesn't feel like she has to do. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
she's doing it because she wants to stop this crazy person.
Yeah.
But it's not because she's like, I have to do this, or, like, I don't know, like, there's no other choice. Like, there's another choice. You could just let her win.
Mm-hmm.
But Gideon's like, that's not, I mean, let's be real. That's not Gideon's way.
No, Gideon doesn't lose.
No. That is very clear that Gideon does not like to lose.
Gideon does not like to lose, and the only way, she realizes the only way that she's going to win this time is to lose.
Yeah. And she makes that choice willingly and without hesitation.
Yeah. And Hera, of course, has never lost a thing a day in her life, and she's like, no, we can win this. We don't have to do that. And Gideon's like, no.
I've done the calculations. My spreadsheet says.
Sorry. This is how it has to be.
And, like, Harrow has to make that choice, too. Like, Gideon basically says to her, it's like, hey, I'm already dead, so either you absorb me and lose me forever, or you lose me forever.
Yeah.
So, make your choice.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Harrow's like, well, I can't just allow you to just die for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, that would be crazy. So, and then she kicks ass, man.
Yeah, she does.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a badass now.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So I do want to read the next one. I just have to get in the right headspace.
I think it's gonna be a lot of, at least the beginning.
There's gonna be some feelings.
Yeah.
To work through.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Harrow has lived through a lot already just on the 9th planet.
Uh-huh.
And then she gets to this crazy house of horrors.
Uh-huh.
And then Gideon died. Like, it's a lot.
Uh-huh.
to process. So, yeah.
And it's so funny, too, because you start off reading it thinking you're just going to be on the ninth planet the whole time.
For sure. That is the way it feels. Like, you're just like, oh, is this it? We're on this dark...
10% in, you're already off on a shuttle.
Exactly. Yeah. I will say, I really appreciated the world building in this. Like, she really just throws you in and expects you to keep up.
Oh, I loved it.
And it's so refreshing to have that.
She just expects you to be smart, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
I love it.
For sure. Yeah. So, definitely read this if you haven't read it. I mean, we spoiled it for you, but maybe you'll be able to follow it better. I don't know.
I mean, did we? Because I don't know if it made any more sense just talking about it than reading it.
I feel kind of confused. I don't know. I still love it.
I mean, we spoiled that she dies at the end, but I mean, I feel like that's it. That's it, really.
Yeah, like... There's so much that happens that we haven't even talked about all the rest of the characters. Honestly, there are so many characters in this that when I was doing my notes for this episode, I was like, I can't include all of these.
My brain just kind of went wonky, and I think I blacked out for a minute making my notes.
Like, I can't, because if you talk about one, you have to explain like all of them, and there are just too many.
All of the houses and all of their powers.
All of the houses, and they each have like a necromancer and their cavalier, and it's just too much.
And then you have the ghosts who live in the haunted mansion place, and then you have and then you have the nuns and stuff who live at the ninth house. No,
it was just too much, and
I
gave up.
It's a very big cast of characters.
So literally on my notes, I just have Harrow and Gideon.
That's about how mine went too.
Yeah. So. But it's so phenomenal.
It's so good!
Yeah.
You must read it!
You must.
It's amazing!
It's important.
It's necromancy in space.
You'd be missing out if you didn't read it.
Kind of.
It kind of?
It's like Clue, but with necromancy.
And lesbians.
And lesbians.
In space.
In space. I mean, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty close.
I mean, it's like one of those dinner parties where you go and you have dinner and then all of a sudden someone dies and you're like, who did it?
Except a little more harrowing.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
No, for real though, because you're literally wondering who at the table is killing everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of like that. So.
Yeah. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what's going on. Yeah.
And you're wondering if the teacher's doing it. You're like,
yep.
What is going on?
Yeah. I did think that for a good chunk of the book was that teacher was the killer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously not.
Not. I mean, he's weird, but he's not it.
No.
He's weird for a different reason.
Yeah. But yeah. Gideon the Ninth.
So good.
Okay. What are we reading next time?
We are reading Alona Andrews. We're going to some classic urban fantasy. With some spicy time. This is like a husband-wife author team, and I love them. They're amazing.
It's so cool. Like, I love a partner duo supporting each other.
Yes. This is Burn for Me. So it is their romantic urban fantasy? Is that even a thing? I don't know. But it's great.
Yeah, it's really good. So can't wait to talk about that next time. Yeah. Till then, I am Daniella Dre.
I'm Evelyne Girl.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Intoxicated Literature. Drink well, friends.